So this one genuinely caught me off guard. RchX and XDC network form partnership to drive innovation and growth in real-world asset tokenization. Listen, is it me? Or does it seem like the only assets that are chosen in this real-world asset conversation are the DLT-based projects, the assets that the majority of the market wants to call the dinosaur projects? Well, these dinosaurs seem to be ushering in the future of global finance. I remember when DPIN popped up in the Web3 discussion. It was real hot for a few seconds, but it's kind of simmered down. This RWA discussion has not stopped, ladies and gentlemen. We're going on 4 years, 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, since Larry Fink told the world that the future of this market would be tokenized. And what have we seen since then? It's a very interesting time in the space, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're new, let me introduce myself. My name is Wade. You've stumbled upon another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in the space since 2019, and I've researched over 1,000 digital assets. I promise you, the only reason I'm here is to share all that knowledge with you. Just in return, you do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you want, you can subscribe too. Got a little goal of hitting 50K before the end of the year. Let's see what happens. But our focus today is going to be, what in the world is RchX planning? Genuinely. Because first it was the XRP ledger. Then you incorporated Hedera. And now XDC. You guys are onto something. And we're going to figure out what it is. Now, before we jump into this really good, I must share this with you guys. If you're new, you're going to need these 6 pages in this PDF. This is what I call the DHN Crypto Starter Kit. It'll give you everything you know to equip you with the best understanding of what comes from this crypto space. You get the 5 verticals of crypto: enterprise adoption, decentralized finance, or future fi, as I like to call it. Don't trademark that. Gaming and digital ownership, Web3 gaming, emerging technology, so your AIs, IoTs, NFTs, and DPINs, as well as macro level events, policies, and campaigns that push forward the adoption of digital assets. And then you'll also get a criteria for evaluating crypto assets. Listen, I'll be the first to tell you, our conversation over here centered around the new financial system. I will never tell you you have to buy or that you should buy one of the assets that we cover. These are the assets that I'm holding. That's why I come to you and talk about it, talk with other people that are also holding these assets. We seem to be forming some kind of hive mind. Don't want to get too deep into it. These criteria, though, will help you research any asset that you want to get into, even if it's a meme coin. And to get you started, there's links to various crypto ecosystems, the good, the bad, some we cover, some we don't, links to analytics and news outlets. Listen, it took me years to collect all of these sources, and I just gave it to you for free in a 6-page PDF. We got a 2025 edition coming. Look forward to that. But let's not waste some more time. Dive into the details of this brand new relationship with RchX and the XDC network. So the UK's first FCA regulated digital securities exchange, broker, and custodian, which is RchX, announced a new partnership with XDC network, the enterprise grade layer 1. Under the partnership, the two firms will combine the power of a regulated digital asset platform with innovative blockchain solutions to enable financial institutions to access tokenized real-world assets cost-effectively and efficiently, and in the process, broadening the adoption of digital assets and revolutionizing global financial markets. So right away, I want to drop in here because I saw a comment in the community tab when I posted this originally in relation to securities exchange. They asked a question about how come RchX is partnering with XRP if XRP isn't supposed to be a security, is the gist of the question. Well, I want to answer that by saying we don't officially have it in writing yet. The result of the case against the SEC boiled down like this: institutional sales of the XRP token, that means sales, transactions between Ripple and institutional clients. If they're selling XRP tokens to those clients, that is a securities type of transaction. The XRP that we get on Uphold or Coinbase, that is retail XRP. The transactions on that level are not considered a security. That is the result that we've had. So that opens the door for an ArchX to establish a platform in which these assets can be traded. Because then you have to boil down to the definition of a commodity, which is an asset that can be exchanged for a good or a service. To this point, some of the assets that we talk about, our favorite ones, they are not quite at the level of being directly exchangeable for a good or service. Not yet. That is what we are hoping for. As a matter of fact, if you look at the list, the one that's closest to that is XLM or maybe HBAR, because they have applications that use the token that are consumer facing. That's an excellent discussion. You just gave me an idea, brother. You really did. But let's finish this out here, because I want to give you an idea of how important ArchX is as a player in this market, and they will definitely be someone we will be keeping our eyes on going forward. This collaboration enables access to digital assets listed on ArchX through the XDC network platform. ArchX is a leading innovator in the industry and recently announced adding money market funds from several more blue chip asset managers to its platform. XDC is a network designed to power global payments and real-world assets focused on scalability, security, and interoperability. So now we need to know a little bit more about ArchX. And I want to again bring up the adoption model in this situation. ArchX, registered UK fintech with a securities platform. They want to use tech stacks like the XDC network, Hedera, and the XRP ledger to offer the instruments or products that they have developed on their own to a much broader audience. So ArchX is really spreading its wings. Yeah, total. I tried that. If it wasn't funny, well, that's on you. But they're registered in the UK. And when I was looking into ArchX, guys, I actually stumbled upon something. They're registered by the Financial Conduct Authority, which, as a matter of fact, has an entire list, as you can see here, of registered and formerly registered crypto asset firms. What I find to be so interesting, of course, we got ArchX, but we talked about a couple more relationships in regards to Ripple that are already listed here. Also listed here, you'll see Fidelity, Bitpanda, Uphold is on here as well. I'm trying to scroll down to it. Some of these web pages don't let you bookmark them, which, you know, just makes my job so much more fun. But you also see MoonPay partnering with Ripple on that RLUSD stablecoin. I want to get the name of it. It was Clear Junction. I want to show you guys Interactive Brokers. That name rings a bell. Revolut, another Ripple relationship. Clear Junction. Yeah, really wanted to give you an idea of that, guys, in the sense that in the UK, the environment is a lot more forward thinking, which is why we're seeing firsthand institutional products, investment products such as these. Now, we've been tracking ArchX for a minute. Like I said, first the ledger, then Hedera, and now the network. And it makes you really want to look at the type of products that will be coming. Because prior to XDC joining the network, they unveiled these funds across Hedera and the XRP ledger. So we can automatically assume that all 5 of these suckers will be coming to the XDC network as described in the press release, right? But they have a couple more under the structured product category: capital protected note, regulated debt instrument, exposure to cryptocurrencies, bespoke capital protection. Not much information available on this particular offering, but I'm keeping my eye on the third network that they look to add. Mentions coming soon here. UK money market funds. How to buy Ethereum in the UK. That's where these links go. UK money market funds, huh? Now, in my initial research, I didn't slow down long enough to see this, guys. So that's another clue. Because of the track record that ArchX has laid this year has been astounding. The first and probably biggest story was the tokenizing of BlackRock's product, which let me show you that over here in one of the funds. Right? Let's scroll down to the BlackRock fund. The ICS US Treasury Fund. This is the one that's going to be on Hedera. The ICS Sterling Government Liquidity Fund may also be included as well. But to the point of BlackRock, guys, we're going to talk about in a little bit the other RWA protocols on the XDC network, because now we got a stack of them. XDC's building them up. And one of them also is tokenizing a BlackRock financial instrument. Somebody said in the comments that BlackRock had some ownership in the XDC network. I don't know where you got that from. I really don't. But if that's the case, then, oh boy, this is just the beginning. And something else too, guys, I want you to take notice. Now we have these developing. There's one in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. We have them building out here in the United States. And now we have it in the UK. And pretty soon, the rest of the European Union is going to get involved as well, if they're not already. But like I mentioned, Archax set the crypto space on fire earlier this year by incorporating Hedera's technology in collaboration with OnEra to tokenize one of BlackRock's investment vehicles. A little bit before that, they initially began their relationship with Ripple when Ripple still owned what was called Medico at the time. This was 2022. However, in June of this year, you can see Ripple collaborates with Archax to bring hundreds of millions of dollars of tokenized RWAs to the XRP ledger. When we reported on this story, I remember telling you guys in 12 months' time, XRP will be a top 5 RWA asset. I'm still standing on that. It's going to be next to XRP. It's going to be next to XLM. And at the rate Archax is going, Hedera and the XDC network. Again, it absolutely blows my mind that the main assets seemingly being adopted in this RWA discussion are the ones that they call the dinosaurs. It seems to me that tenured financial institutions have more of a preference towards tenured blockchain networks. I'm just saying. Archax adds State Street, Fidelity International, and LGIM offerings to regulated digital platform. This is the press release from November 20th. You can see Fidelity, LGIM, State Street were also added here. Fidelity is also registered their products under the FCA crypto asset list. So a lot of collaboration going on in the United Kingdom right now. And again, this just more so magnifies the RWA discussion. Tezos powered uranium.io. Don't sleep on Tezos, but let's keep our focus, guys, because it really had me very curious about the state of asset tokenization. Now that we, at least from me being involved, I'm saying 2 years. The discussion goes back further than that. But it was 2023 when I first stumbled upon the RWA discussion. And to see how far it has come since then, it is absolutely amazing, guys. Just a quick AI overview. Regulatory support, looking an AI overview of the outlook for asset tokenization in 2025. This is what comes up. Regulatory support, obviously, with a pro-crypto Congress. A lot of the bills that we need to come in place that will give different assets or securities here the clearance that they need in order to be transacted in many markets. We can expect that. Technological advantages, market size, the chain link strategy. That really had me questioning some stuff because all of these networks can connect to Chainlink. XRP, Algorand, Stellar, XDC Network, Hedera, they can all connect to Chainlink thanks to the cross-chain interoperability protocol. Nope, CCTP. They have the TP, the transfer. Circle has the interoperability protocol. Get them mixed up sometimes. Either way, that's what it is, guys. All of these networks can be connected. So, to keep your eye on the pulse of RWAs, it all starts right here, rwa.xyz. And this story really made me do more digging on this website because one thing that I overlooked was just how disproportionate this chart truly is. Almost, what's that, $10 trillion in private credit, if I'm not mistaken? 10 billion. $10 billion in private credit. It's dominating the RWA discussion right now. So naturally, I had to figure out what in heaven's name is tokenized private credit. Well, RWA.xyz, which is another reason why this is an excellent resource, has recently started publishing research and articles to help us get more sharp. We're going to dive into this one from S&P Global, and it's going to drop us right here, guys. So, the growth of tokenized private credit over the last 2 years has surpassed 3 times the amount of growth in private credit, traditional private credit, in the same amount of time, 66% to 22%. So not only is that an indication of the speed of the technology, but obviously there is an immense benefit here. 500 million in assets under management compared to 1.7 trillion. The important thing to take note from that is the fact that not many assets are being chosen for this gig. Not many. Right? And if I'm not mistaken, we go back over to the offerings that they have, right? The structured products. Okay. UK money market funds, regulated debt instrument exposure to bespoke capital protection. Oh, yeah, there's another one here. They just completely blurred that out altogether. Curious to see what that's about. But if private credit is the number one RWA channel right now, and RHX is definitely looking to continue their momentum into 2025, I'm going to go ahead and guess that this is going to be a private credit product. Because something else that I got from this PDF from S&P is with private credit, it's sort of similar to situations like, all right, so Chime is introducing this MyPay thing. I'm still getting the education on this. But Chime has this MyPay thing. It allows you to access a certain amount of your paycheck before the paycheck comes. You guys let me know. Is that a form of private credit? Because if that's the case, then it makes all of these 8 pages make a lot more sense. Because on the tokenized private credit side, you get improvements to digital lending as well as asset-backed lending, which brings in asset-backed digital currencies. We already know where that leads. But it's the digital lending for small corporates and in the real estate world that I'm very curious about. Obviously, with tokenized real estate, you got fractionalized ownership in that realm. But the digital lending, this is new. I know Cash App did it with their borrow program. Chime's offering is newer to me. But if this is going to create a market where more services like that exists, I can only imagine what that world is going to be, folks. I can really only imagine what that's going to be. But this is a pretty interesting PDF. Again, if you want to pick that up, go to rwa.xyz under citations. Now, I talked about before the RWA landscape on the XDC network, the existing RWA landscape. It was easy to make the transition from studying XDC network in relation to global payments and global trade to the RWA discussion because there are companies like Yoda Plus, which runs on the XDC network, and they use DocuTrade. Now, this brings up the topic of tokenization within the world of trade finance, which is pretty interesting. When you think about it, you're essentially, the real world asset you're tokenizing is the data. The data of that trade finance transaction, what's on the certificates of deposit, what's on the bills of lading. That's an interesting way to look at it. But Yoda Plus also has an independent asset tokenization engine that also runs on the XDC network. This lends to the Middle East, UAE, Dubai market that I was talking about before. So XDC is not new to this. You can go ahead and say that they are definitely true to this. And to the point of gold and silver, you got Kinesis money. We are definitely in the process of investigating which one of these assets will be the first to back a token of on their network by gold or silver. We are starting to get a nice collection of these smaller tokens, but that's the very thing. They're very small. They're very insignificant right now as far as their market impact or activity, the impact of their activity on the broader networks. Once we approach that point, though, that's when the game begins to change. And you can see here, going back to the press release, Kinesis Money integrates with the XDC network and readies cross-chain bridge to develop thriving digital asset ecosystem. This is back in 2022, ladies and gentlemen. And I highlighted this portion here because, ironically, this is another clue of tokenization way before it became a thing, right? There are two separate phases which will develop the partnership. The first aims towards the enablement of minting Kinesis gold and silver-backed digital currencies, KAU and KEG, on the XDC network as XRC20 tokens. That's another thing, guys. XDC has its own token standard, similar to the XRP Ledger and the Hedera network. They all have their own token standards, which is another important indicator when you want to compare these networks to Ethereum. They have their own token standards, which give them the exact same functionality as an ERC20, but the biggest difference, way cheaper. Much, much cheaper to do it on Hedera, Ripple, and XDC as opposed to Ethereum. And I think that is why we are seeing these institutions go for these assets before anything else. Yeah, Solana's got Ondo and a couple of, Maple. But you look at the rest of these RWA products and how they're distributed, they're either on Ethereum or Polygon or an Ethereum layer 2. And if they're not, they're on one of our DLT assets. I expect that pattern to continue, guys. And again, more to the gold conversation, Comtech Gold out there in Dubai, backed by the DMCC, Shahara compliant. So their gold is legit and it's all running on the XDC network. Got another release here from last year. They introduced gold and silver backed tokens. Now, I don't want you to get confused as if I'm mixing the topics here. I don't want that to come off that way. The RWA discussion will pave the way for gold, silver, palladium backed digital tokens. First, we got to tokenize private credit. We got to tokenize, to that point, U.S. treasuries. We got to tokenize a few other things first, get the market sensitized to it, and then start dropping the gold and silver in there. But there's another thing. I was talking about BlackRock earlier. This is where that relationship came from. Tokenized U.S. treasuries arrived to the XDC network as digital bond market grows. This was a collaboration between TradeTech's platform and a company called YieldTech. They will be supporting the U.S. Treasury Yield or USTY tokens, which represent blockchain-based versions of shares in a U.S. Treasury bond exchange-traded fund and are accessible to for professional investors on TradeTech's YieldTech platform. What's the number one thing they're offering? Outside of Yield, it was BlackRock's BlackRock Asset Management. They're running the asset management for this fund. And you'll also see another name here too, State Street. Let me bring it back to you. Let me circle back here. The funds that they're offering, who did they just add? Global Advisors. I'm starting to think that these things are all connected, man. I am really starting to think that these things are all connected. But at the end of the day, folks, this is an insane win for the XDC network. It would totally explain the 35% pump in the last 28 to 36 hours. Hopefully it continues. This is making the choice I made a couple months ago so great. Making it so great. But again, guys, before we get out of here, I got to let you know about your DHN Crypto Starter Kit once again. Lots of new faces in the space right now, lots of new faces on the channel, and I just want to make sure you are equipped with everything that you need going into this next bull cycle. Listen, I am motivated right now to perform the best that I can and give you guys the best information that I can, because I remember when this channel was a baby. 2020, 2021 bull run. The way I'm looking at this, I saw names be made in that last bull cycle. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity, not just to make wealth, make money in crypto. By the end of this bull run, I want DHN to be another name that is just as synonymous with crypto as a Coinbase or a Satoshi Nakamoto. With that, I apparently have a phone call. So y'all know what time it is. Pick up your DHN Crypto Starter Kit, absolutely free. And always remember, if that money is digital, so is the hustle.